As we head into 2023, there's been no shortage of Microsoft Flight Sim news. Some good, some bad, some ugly. In today's video, let me get into the first Microsoft Flight Sim video of the year. Sorry, I've been away with a bit of an illness, but I'm back, so allow me to wish you a belated Happy New Year. Now, without further delay, let us get right into the news. Okay, so I'll kick it off with the main story. This one did come to a bit of a surprise for me, and there is quite a bit to talk about. So many of you will be familiar with the Embraer E-jet project from Flight Sim Studio. It's a project I've featured on my channel pretty extensively over the last few months and weeks, and I thought it was set to be something very good. Many of you will have heard me praise it across my channel looking at the Aviation Lads videos. I really did think it would be something special. And while potentially in the future it does have that capability, it seems that for when they are releasing this aircraft, and if you were to buy it there expecting it to be a polished product, you would be pretty disheartened. For this aircraft is being released on the 10th of January as an early access project, in which the model has been complete to a high standard, in fairness, but if you head inside the cockpit you will feel there is a lot missing, simply because there is a lot missing. Now, I'm not one to scream about projects, I never have been. There's very few projects out there where I'll call it an upright scam. I definitely don't think this one is, but I have to say it is a bit disappointing. The Flight Sim Studio Embraer E175, as I said, will be released on January the 10th, priced at €33.50, which comes to approximately 30 UK pounds or 36 US dollars. So not the most expensive project, but not the cheapest either, and that's important. If you're paying for an early access product, there should always be some standard set, because at the end of the day, you are paying for it. It seems like upon release it will be nowhere near a study level simulation we were promised on Flight Sim Studio's website. And while they are perfectly clear and upfront that it's still an early access project, I never feel too comfortable about paying for a product at full price, waiting for the features to come in the future. My advice to you there would be tread carefully. I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't buy. That's silly and basically pathetic. People have their own tastes. Some people might like the Embraer E175 in its current state. I would say it's not good value, but it is early access, so you are taking a bit of a gamble there. There are more in-depth videos across YouTube. I don't want to get into it too much because I fear that will get bogged down in my personal opinion, which is not necessarily what you came here for today, but I would just like to make you guys aware. Flight Sim Studios are soon to release their first E-jet for Microsoft Flight Sim, the 175, at €33.50 plus tax through the Aerosoft store and other vendors. But be aware, it is a work in progress model. As disappointing as it is, I do hope Flight Sim Studio sort it out. I'm not a fan of half-baked products being released at full price, especially when we've been promised a study level simulation, albeit I don't think they ever promised it upon release, but they've been sneaky here. Clearly they may have some cash flow issues. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down below. Moving over to some more news, Bluebird Simulation quite quietly announced that they're working on the Boeing 767 for Microsoft Flight Sim. Once again, tread carefully here, we haven't even had Bluebird Simulation's 757-200 or 300 released from Microsoft Flight Sim yet. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get excited for it, but it does mean we're waiting for Bluebird Simulations to prove themselves, glossy photos and videos aside. Bluebird Simulations, of course, known for working on their Payware 757, which will be available for both PC and Xbox. A relatively low-key post which announced the 767, of which was posted on Facebook on New Year's Eve, And while it is important to set expectations right, as you've seen from the Embraer E-jet's family, looks can be deceiving. I personally am quite excited to see Bluebird Simulations work on their products across the year. Going off their Facebook, they're aiming for a 757 release in Q2/3 next year, which, you know, could be middle of the year, could be towards the later period. Always sort of expect delays with projects like this, especially when they're newer developers like Bluebird Simulations. The plus point with Bluebird Simulations is that they're working with industry leaders such as Just Flight. That is always a green flag in my opinion. I wish them the good luck with it. Anyway, let's move over to some more news now. We're talking about some airport and some scenery. Kicking it off with one of my favourite development teams, excuse the impartiality there. We got Pyreegue Dev. I'm never too sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but one thing I am sure on is that their airports are consistently impressive. They are, simply put, mind-blowing. They've shared their 2023 roadmap, and it includes some previews of East Midlands Airport, which is an airport that's not too far away from me. I've never used it before, but I have been to the wonderful East Midlands Aeropark there, the museum, and I've also done some plane spotting there. So it's a good airport that I've got some experience with. It will be coming to Microsoft Flight Sim by Pyreegue via Orbex Direct next year, or this year I should say, on Microsoft Flight Sim. The developer has also mentioned that there'll be a major update coming to their pre-existing Edinburgh airport with redesigned models, custom satellite imagery and many more improvements. Also in the roadmap there will be smaller updates to their Ukrainian airports, Lviv, Odessa and Boryspil. I do apologise for my pronunciation there. All in all, some really nice updates and some fantastic previews. You know, the spirit of innovation, which is Rolls-Royce airspeed record breaking electric plane. I'm not too sure if it's broken the record yet. I know it's trying to get there. I'm sure it's probably the fastest electric propeller aircraft, but don't hold me to it, I might be incorrect there. Moving over to some more scenery for my Italian viewers. SaviArt has shared some previews of Turin Airport in Microsoft Flight Sim, a beautiful location in the sim and in real life. SaviArt, which is a new developer, is partnering with Orbex to release their latest airport for Microsoft Flight Sim. While it is a very short trailer, it does show some good quality texture work and modelling. And if you fly in that part of the world, it may be for you. Moving over to MK Studios, they've showcased some parts of Dublin version 2, which is an update to their pre-existing Dublin airport for Microsoft Flight Sim. In my opinion, this wasn't MK Studios' greatest bit of work when it first released, so it's nice to see they're working on it. It's an airport I've flown into and out of just once. A really nice airport, feels really old in places, but in a sort of good nostalgic way. And by the looks of it, that feeling will be recreated with MK Studios and version 2 of Dublin Airport, which is basically a whole new attempt at modding this airport. And of course, the biggest addition will be Dublin's newest runway, which is 28 right / 10 left. Basically completely north of the current one, I believe. Anyway, from me today, that is all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Your support was much appreciated in 2022, and blast me with the thousands of you that followed my channel in 2022. It's going to be even more appreciated into 2023. Shall we set a goal to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year? That would be much appreciated. If you could subscribe to get me started on that journey, it would put a massive smile on my face. But for me today, that is all. Bye bye.
Golf Delta Alpha runway 22, clear for takeoff. The wind 240 degrees at 3 knots.
Clear for takeoff, runway 22, Golf Delta Alpha.
2 Golf from Charlie.